Noah, I have watched him in total action for many years, right around the time of 9/11, 2001. He works at Whole Foods, and he is somebody that has stood out in the crowd, heads above the crowd. Every time I see him, I've come into the store and seen him in action. He has always the biggest smile from ear to ear. It is not a forced smile, it is a smile that is so natural and so beautiful. I see him that he is there with his enthusiasm to help the customers, to be in service. But then what I really saw also is that it just was not just a job for him. I often came to him throughout the years, and I would tug on his shoulder there, and I'd say, Noah, give me a tip. What are you doing to become like this and be like this? Whatever you got, I wish they could bottle it, and I wish I could have some of it. I've said that to him a few times. And in saying that, I am so happy today and pleased and absolutely blessed that he is a guest on the show of The Art of Conscious Living. To me, he represents the idea of what it's like to be a happy, balanced person. So, Noah, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for that flattering introduction. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely the truth. The subject of this show is about happy minds and what it is to be a happy person and to keep that state or to obtain that state. And what are your thoughts on that?
I've always kind of felt that this was more my nature, and so it wasn't really something that honestly I worked too hard at. I've always found myself kind of in a position, even as a young person, as somewhat of a, I guess we would call it diplomatic figure. I was always the one kind of trying to break up the fights or help people get along. And I think that just carried through. I've always felt that way, and now at this point in my life, it's actually just the facet of who I am. It's just natural for me. So when I come in, I'm basically already in the state, I guess, that I need to be in order to make it through the day. And it's honestly a joyful thing for me, going through the day and being as helpful as I can, and actually being joy to someone else or being able to help someone else. That gives me pleasure.
What I'm hearing you say is that it was effortless. It's something that you have to do, and it's a practice, or it's a discipline. It's a natural state of being for you.
Absolutely.
When did that happen? I mean, was it always like that, or were there a point in time, there was a pivotal moment where it became like that?
That's a great question. That was after 2001. I lived about 1.5 miles from what was the World Trade Centers. And
in New York City?
In New York City. I'm from New York originally.
Oh, okay.
I grew up and I was born and raised in New York, and then moved out here shortly after that, and kind of had to change up my life a little. So what I was doing before didn't apply as much. In my previous work, I worked in a recording studio. I worked in studio settings. There would be, if you had a session where you had 20 or 30 musicians, that would be a lot of people to see in a day. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, you can see, even if you're not an express checker, you can see, probably 20 or 30 people in an hour. Mm-hmm. So it's just a completely different thing. So coming into this, it's a different work experience.
And how were you with the musicians in New York?
I grew up around musicians, and my dad was a musician, so I was always around musicians, and so we always had a relationship with them. So that wasn't really a difficult thing. I think this was more of a, not difficult thing, but this was more of a change for me doing this job that I'm doing now, working for Whole Foods, because it's just so different from my nature.
So did you change from happy state did you become more happy from leaving New York and being without the musicians, and now here at Whole Foods, being in the service industry? Did you see a change
in this situation? The best thing you can do really is just try to make each person come through you know, if they're having a bad day, maybe you can do something, you know, make their day a little less bad. You know, if they're having a great day, you know, they come through the line, you just join in with them, you know, and have a great day with them.
Well, the old saying is, it's better to give than receive. You get back so much more by giving.
Yeah. And it really does feel good. You know, it feels good to, you know, even just a little thing to show someone where an item is in the store. Hey, where's the pickles? You know, or the olives, or the capers, whatever it is.
Really,
and then you take them.
You're really enthusiastic
yeah, you
about
take them over
this.
there. You're helping the person.
It's amazing,
Anything, a carry out, whatever it is. Because the other advantage I have is I'm good at being able to put myself into another person's position. So I'm able to quickly. I was a Whole Foods shopper before I was a Whole Foods, you know, what they call team member, employee. So in that role, I always had an understanding, fortunately for me, first of what it was like to be the customer.
Right.
So I know exactly how I want to be treated.
Let's go on a personal level in your life. I mean, are you like this at home? Are you like this with your friends? It's become effortless for you. So it's not just a job service orientated thing with you. To me, it's a very authentic part of who you are. So let's say you're having a really bad day or something bad happens on the weekend and you're not working. I mean, really bad stuff. Where is happiness playing in that? Are you happy sometimes and now that some bad happens, I'm not so happy? Where do you see that?
Mostly the way that I am here is very similar to the way I am at home in the standpoint of just my approach towards people. Mostly I'm a person who, when people approach, I'm as warm and trying to be helpful as I possibly can be. And at home sometimes, you know, of course things are much quieter, so it's a lot different. So you're there in sometimes less introverted states. You're not really, you know, you're not speaking, you're not kind of interacting. So in those moments, you know, you're just sitting there quiet or whatever. So and in that way, if someone were to see me, they would say, oh wow, he just looks like any other person. And in that way, I am just like any other person, but I still try to have things at home the same way I do here at work. Do the dishes, do the laundry, mow the lawn, whatever that is.
And enjoy it as you're doing it.
Absolutely. When you find yourself in this beautiful place where we are, well, Earth is a beautiful place, but here in California, yeah. And the difference between here and where I'm from is very drastic. It's not just a subtle difference. So a lot of those things are also helped or made easier by, you know, okay, you're out there mowing, but you're standing there in the middle of this, you know, bare feet breathing in the air. You know, it's really, it's really beautiful. So it's not really that difficult to be, you know, I mean, it might be a lot harder if you're in some apartment building, which is back where I'm from, and your mom goes, you know, okay, go down to the basement and do the laundry. I mean, you know, it's not necessarily a beautiful thing. My mom, I think, now that I look back on it being a kid, of course, she was trying to raise me and, you know, make me more independent. But as a kid, I didn't really understand that part of it. I just thought I was, you know, being helpful. I was the older of two brothers, so I was kind of the one that was the grown-up, let's say.
Do you think there's a relationship between happy and peace?
I was going to say everybody. Most people have something that they're dealing with, some sort of issue inside of them, probably, that whether it's something from the past or something that they're not happy with now, they're going through and they're, you know, trying to deal with that, and that's kind of tugging on them. I think that
the patterns of the past.
What they need to try to do, you know, is to meditate and to try and just come up with ways to make whatever things they're hung up on okay. Like if they're things from the past, because that's the worst thing to do, hang up on things from the past.